Inside CRFTSHO. So today we're going to do something different. So today we're going to look at one of the spots we did for a brewing company, and it was a real quick, easy, down and dirty type shoot. It was just me and the bearded one, Mr. Worley, and so we had a minimal amount of time because he's a pretty busy guy, the brewer is, and the founder. So we sat down and kind of figured out a lighting diagram on the fly, because it's a really easy, effective idea to have in your toolkit of this real simple backlight over into a bounce with some negative fill thing. So we'll kind of go over the spot and show you how it works. Okay, so we wanted to approach the lighting very effectively and very quickly. We didn't have a lot of options, a lot of time. It was just Jeff and I. This was one of those shoots that was, hey, can you guys come help us with this? Yes, we can, because A, we love beer, B, we love Keith, the brewer, and C, we love the agency we are working with. We also call him Six Top. The creative director over there is nicknamed Six Top. He was in a video, I think, yesterday. Let's take a look at this behind the scenes type stuff, and we'll kind of go over it as we go. So I'm going to flash between you and the monitor here. As you can see, as we started out, you kind of have Keith standing there. He's laughing. He's a charming guy, but not totally comfortable in the interview. And if you look at, like, on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see this large silver tank, and there's a little bit of a flare coming through that. So this room was set up. It's a big warehouse. They're not fully functional yet, which is a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Time of day is very important in this kind of process. There's a great app you can use called Sun Surveyor. They even have a free version called Sun Survey Lite. Use that. It tracks the sun, tells you where it's going to be, and helps you out. We looked at what the best time was with the light coming in based on the room, and we realized that based on time of day, the sun would be coming in from the from camera left. So it would be coming in from the left-hand side of frame, filling in. So what I wanted to do is use that as a little bit of a bounce, and then turn around and add a little bit more light to it. And in order to add that light to it, we put a large HMI just over the other side of that tank, just on the back side of it. It's a 1.2 HMI, and then we bounce that just over his shoulder, and you can kind of see, like, if you look on the left side of his face, you see a little bit of this highlight, and that's a mix of daylight from the outside, which I said the light is coming in from over here, and then we have a lamp back behind him that's further accentuating that light, kind of curving that light a little bit to round him out. Now, the key to this is, this is the raw footage. When you see the graded element, it makes a lot more sense, but one of the things we wanted to do is put a little drama in it, so we had negative fill on the camera right side of frame, and negative fill is basically just, for us, it was a flag. And specifically, instead of doing like a 4x floppy, which is a 4-foot giant piece of grip gear, we just used a cutter or a flag, that's 3 foot by 1.5 foot over. So it's basic flag. And we had it just about at head level, so we would get a little more shadow on his face and less on his body. We weren't so concerned with it. The natural roll off of light would take care of that for us. But in order to elevate him up a little bit, we decided to throw a bounce in, and that's what you can see the bearded one doing here. And sorry that the still's from Instagram, but that's where it went, and I deleted it off my phone, so stupid me. The light kicks into this bounce, lifts up on him, and then we have the negative fill on his left-hand side, camera right side. So you can kind of flow through it there. Then, if you look at the B camera, so what we then had is we had a secondary camera setup, because it's always good to have two. If you can afford to put 2 cameras down, great. Just gives you some room in cutting, especially when you're dealing with someone who's not traditional talent, right? If they haven't done a lot of work on it. So this lighting was going to work the entire time we're there. We knew we had about 45 to an hour to bang out this interview. So if you look at this B camera here, you can actually see, the light kissing over his head. Now, that does a couple of things. One, that's kind of our style. We kind of like that lifestyle Nike look. And so this is one way to do it, is you just let the lamp hit the lens a little bit, get a little lens flare. And with this, we're on an 85. These are Zeiss CP2 lenses. These are just lenses we have in the house, normally just for shooting really simple stuff. They're good enough lenses. They do a great job. You can rent them if you need to. We happen to own a set, just from a long story short. It doesn't really matter if you own them or rent them, as long as you're using some good glass. You could have used still lenses and got the same effect. The point being is what we really liked about it is how well it handled the light just rolling off of his face. So now we have a 2-camera piece that's in perfect sync, and we can move them back and forth as we need to move them, right? It also allows you to cut down on timing. So think about that. Sometimes it's not just flobbing the word. It's not just flubbing the word. Sometimes there's a moment where you might need to edit what they say. They're interviewees that are really well groomed. They usually have collected thoughts pretty quickly. And then some of them, they get really excited. If they're really passionate about what they do, they get ramped up. Same thing. The real trick to all this is that you could do the exact same thing with another lamp. If you don't have a 1.2 HMI, I totally get it. But you could take anything in this space you need a lot of light, but anything like even a 650, you might have to make this front side interview shot a little bit tighter, but you could bring a 650 in and then balance your light back out with it. If you have a lamp over your subject's shoulder, shining into a bounce with some negative fill, as long as your background is dynamic enough, you'll get that separation that you're looking for. It's just a quick and easy trick for doing interviews with one light. We wanted to get things up and going as quickly as we could, because not only did we have to shoot the interview, we also needed to pick up some shots of the beer. So let's jump into how to do beer, or any liquid for that matter. So the first frame I have set up here is but you can see it kind of glowing up. See how the bottom is glowing? All we did there is we took an LED light. We call them grenades, but they're from light panels. Let me see if I can find one. All right, so this is a light panel, right? So you can see it's just a bunch of LEDs under the bottom. Works like that. Let's see how it configs. All right, so the battery snaps onto the back like this, right? And you can get these in kits. Ours came from Film Tools. The battery snaps onto the back. You can see how it powers up. It just uses these little relays, and boy, oh boy, is it a bright one. So we basically would take our glass, and you'd set your glass on top. So you can take your glass, and you can see this is dirty glass, but you can set your glass on top, and suddenly you get this really crazy glow. So if you're using a darker liquid, it works even better. So then you can kind of tone it down this way and kind of pull it where you need to be. And the bottom of your glass gets the glow so that when the liquid pours in, you get something really awesome. Back to the video. Okay, so how do we do that stuff? So those grenades, right, like we were talking about, those lights are under the bottom, and you can see it's illuminating. Look how beautiful and golden that beer is. And so it's just lifting that light through the bottom where we can see all the detail. More importantly, when we hit the slow-mo version, now you get to see all those micro bubbles, and it looks more appealing. And in this case, it was elevating that glass just to give it more shine. The real trick on all this is making sure your glass is very, very, very clean. If we take that same HMI, that same light, remember where the interview was, and we turn it, can we get more out of it? We basically spun the light, and you can see here, you can look at the very bottom of the glass, you can see those grenades. You can see those little LEDs just teasing into the back of it. But if you look at the rim of the glasses, you can see how the light is refracting off of it. So you suddenly see that, wow, they've got an edge cut out of it. It's glowing on both sides. Well, that's just because we took that lamp that we showed you earlier and spun it around so that you could see it better, right? So that's kind of a little quick and easy, down and dirty. I know it's not super specific, but it's an easy way to put it together. Throw up a lamp behind your subject, bounce in front of them, negative fill here, right? So now your subject's got nice looking images. Then when you're ready to shoot your next piece, just make sure that same idea applies. Move over, swing a lamp over, put something underneath it, and light away. All right, well, that's it for this episode. I don't know what else to say. It's the weekend, whatever.